Hi guys, this is Cheryl with Architect Destiny. Welcome back to my channel. I'm so glad you decided to tune in today for another video. This is going to be a little bit of a departure from my typical plan with me's and flip throughs. I just kind of want to talk about journaling, believe it or not. Many of you, if you've been around for a while, have probably heard me say on occasion that I'm not a journaler. I don't keep a separate journal that I write in every day, writing down all of my thoughts and feelings and everything that happens during the day. I don't journal in that way. I don't record things that way. But I do like to keep track of very important things. I like to keep track of highlights and lowlights in my day. I like to keep track of accomplishments and significant memories. Yet I am very much kind of a one book girl as far as planning is concerned. I do have other books in my system, but I consider those books to be long-term types of components of my planning system. For instance, my reference notebook. That is a book that I'm going to use from year to year to year as I rotate to different planner books each year. That book will continue to be a part of my system. What I formerly called my brain dump notebook, which I now call my commonplace book, that's going to be an ongoing part of my system as well. I will continue to brain dump in there and to take notes and write down things that I want to keep long term. So for all intents and purposes, I'm a one book person when it comes to what am I going to put on my shelf that contains all of my plans and all the things that were important to me for that year. This will be the book. So this is the book that I want to make sure I have everything in that I want to go back and look at if I choose to, or to reference for that year for memories, highlights, plans, events, all of that. I want those things to be in this book only. So what I want to talk about today is journaling in your planner. I know it's very popular to have a separate journal, but I don't have a separate journal. But I have different ways that I like to record things in my planner so that I don't forget them. They're there for posterity. When I go back and pick up my book for 2023, I can flip through it and see all the significant events of that year. So I just wanted to give you some ideas. If you are not a journaler, like I'm not, just some ideas of how you can still keep memories for the things that happen in your life in your planner along with your plans. So I'm just going to kind of start at the front of my book and show you some things that may be helpful to you. Probably going to block out quite a bit because, memories and things like that can be personal, but I do want to give you some ideas. So, sorry, it's taken me a long time to get to where I want to go. One thing that I think is cool is to keep track of movies that I watched and what I thought about them. So I don't keep track of every single movie that I watch because my husband and I pretty much watch movies every weekend. But this is the front of my Jibun Techo. And it has pages, lots of pages like these that have different titles for things that you can use that spread for. A lot of those things I knew that I would never use. And so I made labels over most of them. This is a page that I did use as it was presented in the planner. But as we go along, I'll show you pages that I made labels with my label maker and covered up what was there and created a spread for something that I would want to record. So this is one. I'm going to take a sip of coffee real quick. Okay, excuse me. This is one that I did want to use because I think it's fun to remember the movies that I watched, the ones that I enjoyed, or ones that I maybe just had very strong feelings about, positive or negative, and just write some notes about what I thought. So for me, this is memory keeping. This is journaling because I'm writing down media that I consumed, the date, and what I thought about it, and I give it a rating. It has the happy face, the meh face, and then the frowny face. And so I kind of say with these little tracking emojis, if you will, what I thought about the movie, and then just write a few little notes. To me, I consider that memory keeping because I'll be able to look back on this and remember these movies that I either really enjoyed or really did not, or was kind of neither here nor there with, like a movie we watched last night. We're always on the hunt for action movies because that's what we enjoy. So we kind of like the slick, explosive action movies. And so we're always kind of looking for those on Netflix and Prime Video. This one, it was kind of lots and lots of action, but the storyline was kind of mediocre. And that's what I wrote here. So, if people ask me to recommend movies and things like that, or what's the last movie you saw, I can always reference this. And so for me, this is a form of memory keeping in my planner. Another thing that I do in my planner, and this is an example of where I chose not to use the spread that was presented in the Jibun Techo, but I made a label on white tape, and I made my own spreads that I wanted to have in my planner. And so I've got one for accomplishments and one for currently loving. For me, this is also a way of memory keeping because I'm keeping track of things that I accomplished, and I have monthly, so I'm not going to write like a whole lot of things. I'm not going to write every single thing I did during the month, but I'm going to write down things that are significant accomplishments that I feel good about or proud of that happened during the month. And I love this because it's very short form, and it gets to the point, and it allows me to be able to go back and remember these things and when they occurred. As you can see, February has nothing, April has nothing, and that's fine because if nothing significant was accomplished during those months, this tracker is true. I mean, nothing significant happened. June and July have several things written here, which, I just feel like this is a good way for me to remember things that I accomplished without writing pages and pages in a journal, which is fine if that's what you like to do, but I don't like to do that. But this is very, very functional for me as far as keeping track of accomplishments. Then I also created a currently loving category. And this can be somebody's YouTube channel. This can be a series that I'm watching either on just regular TV or that I'm binging on Netflix. So I've just got, basically what I was loving each month. And maybe over here I make some notes about it so that I can kind of remember, what I was feeling about that particular thing that I was watching that month. So yeah, I'm really enjoying these spreads, and I, even as I'm flipping through my planner, I'll just kind of stop and look at these and the things that I wrote down and just remember, how I was feeling or what I was thinking or whether I was really enjoying kind of participating in these things or consuming these things. So yeah, that's another one that I really like. Let's see. Music playlist. These can be newly discovered songs. These can be old songs. Like my favorite music decade is the 80s. I'm an 80s girl. That's when I was in high school and college. And that is like by far my favorite music of all time, whether it's R&B or whether it's pop, soft rock. I mean, I just kind of write down songs sometimes if I just kind of hear them and it reminds me of, man, I love that song when I was in high school. I'll write it down and I'll add it to my YouTube playlist because I'll just sit and just play back to back the songs on my playlist sometimes. And I just love, there's nothing like playing a playlist of your favorite songs just back to back. So this is a way of memory keeping to me because it brings back memories of songs that I liked a long time ago, or it's a way of collecting new songs that I just discovered and add to my playlist. So I really like that. And some of you may say, these are more like collections. I mean, this is more of a collection. Your movies is more of a collection. You could call them collections. But for me, it's a way of journaling and memories. And when I go back to this planner and look through here, I'll remember the kind of music that I was enjoying this year. I'll remember the TV shows that I was watching and all of that. So these are ideas for the person who wants to keep track of their memories, but they're not a journaler. So they can fall into different categories. This could very well be a collection, but for me, I consider it a part of my memory keeping system. Let's see, what else do we have? I think that's all that I have in the front of my planner as far as memory keeping. I'm going to flip over to my weeklies and kind of show you what I'm doing there with memory keeping. I'm going to go to a couple of spreads because I want to show you some different types of things. Let's see. This one, for example, this is the third week of January of this year, and I did my first goal planning retreat where I took the day off on Friday. I rented a hotel room for 2 nights, and I was going to just work on planning my goals for the year, and I will definitely do this again. I really, really enjoyed this. And so what I decided that I was going to do, since typically I write in my planner in black ink as far as plans and my tracking and my micro journaling down here at the bottom, if I want to capture highlights of the day or certain memories that took place during the day, I will use blue ink and I will write it in the schedule part of the day. Typically, I'll try to write it at the point of the day where it actually happened. That doesn't always happen. It depends on whether I have the space or not. But typically, I will write highlights in this part of my spread, and I will write them in blue. And that helps me to remember when that happened or when I did a certain thing. Of course, I'm recording what it was that happened. I'll put hearts if it has to do with something I really loved or a family member like my husband or one of my kids or my mom or my brother. I will put a happy face or a sad face depending on whether it was a highlight, something made me feel really good, or a low light, something that made me really sad or upset. And I will document those things within the spread. And that is really good for me because it pops out immediately when I turn to that page. And I can go read it and say, oh yeah, I remember that. I remember that incident. I remember that feeling, that emotion. I remember what that was all about, just from these few little lines that I recorded in the spread itself. Now, how these highlights and lowlights differ from my micro journaling at the bottom. is that typically this will say what my overall demeanor was for the day, or my overall feeling for the day, or how was my day overall. And I may put some specific things in here about what I was feeling or what happened, but typically this is kind of giving detail for my mood for the day. Like, I wrote here that I was okay. I wrote here that I was discouraged. I was anxious and down. I was content and not stressed. I was winding down on this day. I was relaxed. I was content. And typically the micro journaling here will flesh out my mood that I recorded here. It won't be specific particular incidents that I want to remember, or specific feelings that I want to remember, or specific things that happened that I want to remember. I will record those things in blue ink in this part of my spread. Here, I'm talking about how I was overall feeling for the day, and just kind of really adding some detail to that rather than just recording my mood alone. So I hope that makes sense how I differentiate the two. Again, I call this section of my weekly my micro journaling section. Micro because it's just a few lines, but it's enough to help me when I look back on this to remember how I was feeling during that day. And these highlights and lowlights also help me to remember why I was feeling this way. A lot of times these feelings will be a reflection of things that happened. So for me, that is a very effective way of journaling, as opposed to me having a separate book and just sitting down every night and writing a page or 2 pages or half a page about how I was feeling. This gives me very pointed, specific things that I can remember. A lot of times also, I want to remember special things that people did for me or that I did with people. And I will write those in red. And a lot of times you'll see written in red my husband's nickname. His name is Cedric. I call him Ced, or most of the time I call him Babe. But for purposes of my planner, if I have a task written down that I had planned to do myself, and my husband does it for me or helps me with it, I like to remember that he did that. And so you will see all through my weekly spreads my husband's name with his nickname with a little heart. And that means that he did that for me, to help me out, or just to surprise me, like, okay, wow, I don't have to do that. He already did it. And I always note those things because I like to remember why I appreciate him so much. Like on my meal prep list over here on the sidebar, I was going to make chicken wings and cook cabbage and macaroni and cheese this day. And my husband cooked the chicken wings for me. And so I put his nickname and a little heart to remember that. This day I was going to go for a walk. I ended up going for a walk with my neighbor across the street. And so I put walk, and then I put in red with Patty and a happy face. So as I'm looking through this, I can remember things that people did for me or things that I did with people. It pops off the page because I write it in a color other than my typical black, which is what I prefer to write my plans with in my planner. So that is an example, and I'll just flip through and show you some others. Let's see. I just wrote a note here that my husband, did he go somewhere? Oh, he went on a pastor's retreat to plan sermons for the next quarter with some pastor colleagues of his. He left on Sunday and he came back on Tuesday. So I just wrote a little note here that this is when he came home, and I wrote it in red because it's a loved one, my husband, and he came home this day. A walk again with Patty in red. I wrote here that I was supposed to be on a call. It wasn't a mandatory call. It's a company-wide call for work. They have it once a month, the last Monday of the month. And I must have been super busy this day because I missed the call. So I just wrote in red here, I missed it. And that will remind me that I need to watch it later. Like I had here. I wrote down listen to all hands call on Wednesday. I didn't do it on Wednesday, however, I did it on Thursday. So I wrote in red Thursday. So that's another way that I kind of remember things, is that if I don't do it on a day that I said I was going to do it, I'll write in red when I actually did it. More of my sweet husband helping me with things. He emptied the dishwasher for me here. I left my dry cleaning bag at the dry cleaners, the bag that I take the clothes to the dry cleaners. And I just wrote a note here to myself, don't forget to pick up the bag. And I wrote here that I went to praise team rehearsal with my husband on this night because they were having a meeting. So I just wanted to remember that I did that. One of my son's friends received salvation on this day at church. My husband and I led her to salvation. So I just wanted to remember that in my planner. So I wrote that in blue. And yeah, so that's how I record memories. Again, all of my micro journaling and mood tracking here at the bottom. I want to show you lots of highlights and lowlights in this spread. So yeah, that's just more of the same. Like if I go to dinner at a certain place, a lot of times I'll write the place in blue. Like we had dinner at Five Guys, got burgers and fries after Bible study this night. I wrote that in blue. I had a long, sweet talk with my son this day, so I wrote that down. Had a nice talk with my mom on this day. And let's see, I texted my baby son who's in school up north, and just kind of writing down what he was doing and what was going on up there so I could remember. And my husband brought home donuts from the donut house. They're like these gourmet donuts. They're so good. They're huge, and they're these like not your typical, you know, donut flavors. And so he brought some home on this Saturday morning and surprised me, which is really nice. So yeah, that's the kind of thing I like to write down. I want to flip over to a vacation week and show you what, okay, this is not a vacation week. This is like when my husband and I went to a conference in Orlando. So of course, when I'm on vacation or I'm out of town for a conference or something like that, I'm not going to have like a day full of meetings and tasks and things like that. I'm going to have pretty much memories from the day. And so on this particular page, I wrote all of the memories in blue. And I did that because the decor for the page is pretty much black and gray. So I didn't want to write in black. Typically, if the day is all memories, because I'm on vacation, a lot of times I will write that in black because it's very apparent that it's not a typical day. And so whatever is written there is going to be memories. But because I chose black and gray for the color scheme for this spread, I wrote all my memories in blue. And it's just kind of a record of what we did throughout the day and things that were special or significant. And I can go back and remember this conference and just have lots of details about it. My husband and I went on a dunch date at Harper's. It was like too late to be lunch, too early to be dinner. This was like a super chill morning at home, binge watching The Bachelorette. So things like that, I love writing those things down within my spread, and that's the way I keep memories and journal. I wrote down here that my oldest son, CJ, did his own taxes. I was so proud of him because I recommended that he go to H&R Block and just let them do them because they're so simple. I thought it was going to be pretty cheap. He went there and he told them their price for what he needed done. He was like, no, thank you. And so he went online and he took pictures of his documents and uploaded them and did his own taxes. And that is something I really wanted to remember because I was so proud of him for doing that. Because I had been doing his taxes up until now, or paying someone to do them because I just didn't want to be bothered. I hate doing taxes. I really do. But I just would do his and my other son's, Cameron's, because they were so simple. But I was like, okay, I'm done with taxes. He's 24 years old almost. He's gonna have to pay to have them done, or he's gonna have to do them, or something other than mom doing them. So I just wanted to remember that he did them. Yeah, I was at my mom's this weekend, so I just wrote down just a little few memories from being at her house and what we were doing on that Saturday. Let's find another one where there are lots of memories. We're going up north to see our younger son Cameron pledged to fraternity, and they were having their probate show this weekend. So we flew up, watched the probate show, spent some time with him, and flew back on Sunday morning. So just memories about that. I'm gonna flip over to June because we went to the beach as a family, and that was another one where we were there almost the whole week. And so no plans. I wrote all of my memories within the day here, the days, and I wrote in black this time because my color scheme was kind of this turquoise and blue. Whenever I think of the beach, I think of those colors. And so since that was my color scheme, I wrote my memories in black and put lots of stickers, not emoji stickers, icon stickers, and all of that. And so that's how I journaled the week on vacation. So yeah, that's just, lots of, and someone asked me on Instagram, I did a reel of one of my spreads, and I see a lot of red and blue. What's going on there? And so I kind of explained to them what was going on. The blue was like memories, highlights, lowlights from the day. The red was like special things or special people doing things, and so yeah, you're getting to see it all up close and personal. Another thing that I'm doing in the back of my Jibun Techo, and I'm probably gonna maybe block this out, I don't know. But looking back on 2023 is an actual spread in this planner. I did not create this label. So I just put a little tab here that says memories. And it has 1, 2, 3 through 12. So all the months, and as you can see, it goes all the way across. So if I had more memories for January, I could just go all the way across here and write more. But I'm just writing down specific memories, things that were very important that happened each month. And so for me, I really like this because this is like super, super highlights for the month. And I just have a separate section for it. Some of these things are absolutely recorded, in my weeklies as well. These blue notes here, some of those things are recorded there. But this is just like a collection of all of the highlights and things I want to remember from each month for the whole year. And so I really, really try to stay on top of this and make sure I write down things each month as they happen so that I don't forget anything and that everything is recorded here. So when I put this book away, everything is in there. So yeah, this is how you can journal in your planner. So I hope that this was helpful for you. I hope you got some ideas for your own planner. If you're a one book planner girl and you don't have a separate journal, these are some ideas for how you can have all of the things that were special to you for that year in one book, all your plans, all your appointments, all your birthdays, all your memories and highlights and lowlights and everything, all in one place. So if you enjoyed this video, please give it a thumbs up. That will mean a lot to me personally and to my channel. And if you enjoy my content and have not subscribed to my channel, please be sure to hit the subscribe button and the notification bell so that when I upload new videos, you'll be one of the first to know. That's it for now. Thanks for hanging out with me for a bit, and I look forward to seeing you in my next video. Bye-bye.